Good news in history. September 31, 22 years ago, George Bizet's famous opera Les Pêcheurs de Perles, The Pearl Fishermen, debuted at the Théâtre Lyrique in Paris. Set in ancient times on the island of Sri Lanka, it tells the story of how two men's vow of eternal friendship is threatened by their love for the same woman, whose own dilemma is the conflict between secular love and her sacred oath as a priestess. The friendship duet au fond du temple saint, generally known as the Pearl Fishers Duet, is one of the best known in Western opera. Read a bit more and listen to the duet 15800 page from the libretto 15806 of the Pearl Fishermen from La Scala in Milan. Pub domain. The Peral Fishermen was, if one can believe it, composed when Bizet was just 20 years old. The opera was not revived in Bizet's lifetime, but from 1886 onwards it was performed with some regularity in Europe and North America, and from the mid-20th century has entered the repertory of opera houses worldwide. Bizet was scrapping and scraping to try and find an opening in the Parisian opera season for any of his one-act works, after getting in only because none of the two state-sponsored opera houses had to occasionally feature operas made by winners of the Prix de Rome, which Bizet had in fact won. He was offered the libretto for the Pearl Fishermen, which he wrote in 3 acts, since he sensed the potential for a real theatric opera piece. More good news on this date. Rumi, the beloved Persian poet and Sufi mystic of the 13th century, was born. The American amateur astronomer Henry Draper made the first ever photograph of the Orion Nebula using his 11-inch Clark Brothers photographic refractor with a 50-minute exposure, becoming a pioneer in the use of astrophotography in 880. The author and Nobel Peace Prize winner Elie Wiesel was born 19,280 in League of Nations unanimously outlawed intentionally bombing civilians. 1938 Mexican-American labor leader Cesar Ch. founded the United Farm Workers. 1938 Botswana celebrating Independence Day. 1936 the UK's first national pop radio station, BBC Radio 1, was launched in the UK to take over from the very successful pirate radio stations, which had been forced off air by the government, and former pirate DJ Tony Blackburn of Radio Caroline became the first presenter on air. 1938 and Roberto Clemente reached his 200th hit, the last of his baseball career, before his death in a plane crash while en route to deliver humanitarian aid to earthquake victims in Nicaragua. 1938 the first president chosen in free elections by the Serbian people, Vojislav Koštunica, was sworn in after defeating Slobodan Milosevic by a wide margin. 20th the giant squid in its natural habitat is photographed for the first time 600 miles south of Tokyo. 1434 years ago today, Mozart's opera The Magic Flute Die Zauberflöte premiered in Vienna, Austria. The two-act performance, set to a German libretto by Emanuel Schikaneder, included both singing and spoken dialogue, a popular form at that time. Neil Mackenzie, New Zealand Opera CC license. The opera, conducted by Mozart himself, premiered at Schikaneder's theatre, the Freihaus Theatre of der Weiden, just 1 month before the composer became Bergin and 2 months before he died at age 30 of an unknown illness. It is now considered one of the greatest operas of all time. In this opera, the mythical Queen of the Night persuades Prince Tamino to rescue her daughter Pamina from captivity under the high priest Sarastro. Instead, he learns the high ideals of Sarastro's community and seeks to join it. Separately, then together, Tamino and Pamina undergo severe trials of initiation, which end in triumph, with the Queen and her cohorts vanquished. The earthy Papageno, who accompanies Tamino on his quest, fails the trials completely, but is rewarded anyway with the hand of his ideal female companion, Papagena. Watch how good overcomes evil in the video, where Mozart's Magic Flute is a masterpiece. 1771, and on this day in 1978, the first Boeing 747 aircraft was rolled out of the assembly plant before the world's press and the 26 airline company officials who had ordered the jumbo jet by Aldo Bodini via GFDL license. The wide-body plane could be used as either a cargo aircraft with its distinctive upper deck accessible through an optional front cargo door, as a passenger jet with an upper deck used for a first-class lounge or extra seating. Designed to transport only 30% more people than the Boeing 747, it held the record for passenger capacity of the 30 years. It exceeded critics' expectations, and as of this summer, 1,546 aircraft had been built, with 20 still on order. 96 years ago today, automaker Fritz von Opel flew a first-manned rocket plane. The Opel RAK.1, also known as the RAK.3, as it was his third design, was the world's first purpose-built rocket-powered aircraft. Grandson of the Opel company founder, he developed a rocket-powered car and train with the assistance of a pyrotechnics manufacturer and rocketry advocate Max Bayer, but their most notable success was the RAK.1, designed and built by Julius Hatry. Opel single-handedly piloted the small glider with a wingspan of 36 feet, which was attached to 16 solid rocket engines in front of a large crowd at Rostock Airport near Frankfurt, Germany. It flew as fast as 90 mph 150 km/h for almost a mile, 1.5 km in 75 seconds before it landed hard, damaging the aircraft beyond repair. Opel planned to build a second rocket plane, but apparently lost interest before the project was completed. Watch the short film Flight 1929, and on this day, 6 years ago, the Flintstones premiered on American television. Produced by Hanna-Barbera Studio, it follows two couples living next door during the Stone Age, Wilma and Fred Flintstone and their best friends Betty and Barney Rubble. It was the first animated series to hold an evening primetime slot on television and was designed to capture an adult audience watching alongside kids, like a Tom and Jerry cartoon series did. The show juxtaposed everyday family concerns